Hey, good morning, Eastern Oregon, and welcome to this November 20th version of AM Live on EOA, your connection to Eastern Oregon. We're glad that you're here with us today. If you want to find our content, if you go to EOA.network, that takes you to a link tree where you can find the locations of where all of our content is released, our YouTube page, our Facebook, all of that. And for those of you that may or may not know, all of this content, this particular content is streamed live on all of those locations and then ends up archived on all of those places also. Glad that you're here with us.
Yeah, all of those locations except Spotify.
Right.
It's not live on Spotify.
Yeah. I don't think Spotify does live stuff, do they?
I don't know. I never looked into it, but
they probably
it goes
will
live
at
to
some point.
the website. It goes live to Facebook.
Right.
And it doesn't go live to Instagram either.
Right.
You can do live on Instagram, but it's not. It wouldn't benefit us any.
Yeah. So, yeah. Here in a little bit, we are going to have LeGrand Police Lieutenant Jason Hayes will be here with us to talk about Shop with a Cop, which is a really cool program that's been going on for several years, and that is coming up right around the corner.
Yeah. I read an article this morning. Oregon, you know how George always talks about the attendance rate at schools?
Yeah, yeah.
Oregon's like one of the worst in the whole country. More than 33% of kids miss more than 17 days of school a year. That's 1 in 3 kids. That's crazy.
I agree.
That's bad. Like I always think like, you know, my daughter, she misses quite a few classes, so I'm like, you know, I get a text and an email.
Yeah.
So I'm like talking to her, talking to mom, like, you know, like, and then I look at it and I'm like thinking like it's almost normal, like especially like her high school seniors in Oregon is like over 50% missing more than 17 days.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
See, and I guess you know, we could go on a rant about this, but
all day.
Yeah, but it's even bigger than that though. It's this. I mean, that parent-kid divide, and I don't know about your kid, but parents these days are more friends to their kids than they are parents.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, and so then it's like, you know, I mean, I just think it's easier for them to be more manipulated, and it's like, no, you know, get your tail out of your bed and get to school.
I had these neighbors growing up on Washington. Jim and Carol was their names, right? They were old. I mean, when I was in high school, they were probably in their 70s. Okay, I don't remember what he did for a living, but he was a rock hound. You know, like his whole basement was just all these rocks, right? Well, they told me 2 pieces of advice in my whole entire life. Yeah. The first one was don't go to sleep mad at your spouse.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then the other one was don't be friends with your kids.
Yeah.
You're not their friend. You're their parent.
Yeah.
And those are the 2 things that I remember Jim telling me. And I mowed his yard. You know what I mean? He was like kind of like the old guy in the neighborhood, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, don't be friends with your kids.
You know, it's funny because one of my kids recently, bless their hearts, said, "Dad, I never understood why you said," because there are times I would try it. I'm the kind of person that I really want context. I really want to know why. It helps me deal with if I'm disappointed, whatever that case might be, you know. And so then I tried to explain to my kids. But at some point it's like, now we're through explaining. And and so then, you know, one of my phrases was, you know, I don't have to explain this to you anymore.
No.
I'm the parent. You're the kid.
That was my mom.
Yeah, I'm the parent. You're the kid.
Yeah.
Do what I'm telling you to do. You know, and she recently said, "Okay, Dad, I ended up telling one of my kids that the other day." You know, so.
That was my mom's go-to. I'm the parent. You're the kid. Simple.
Yeah.
But I almost feel like parents had a little bit more, you know, like backing back in the day. You know what I mean? Like nowadays I think parents are like afraid because of the way laws are and you know what I mean? Like if I would have called the cops on my parents, the cop would have came there and probably whipped my ass as well. You know what I mean? Like I kind of feel like that at least. And nowadays it's like kind of like where, you know, there's all these gray areas where kids are like, you know, like where it almost gives kids too much control in the situation, at least in my eyes.
No. Yeah. Absolutely. And I think that I mean, the other thing that was super critical is that if a mom and dad back each other up.
Oh, 100%.
You know, because and I mean, because there's single parents out there, you feel like totally sorry for them because after a while they just get overwhelmed and worn down, and it's really hard to be consistent.
Whereas but they have to work together for sure.
But if you have somebody who you can tag team with, you know that like they got your
on
back.
The same page, and the kid can't play one parent against the other.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, and I'm thankful that even with my ex-wife Kathy, it's still that way. The kids know that they're going to get the same answer from. If they ask advice, they're going to get the same answer from both of us. So, well, hey, you want to do sports?
Let's do it.
All right.
AM Sports Report brought to you by Northwest Furniture and Mattress. From Black Friday shopping to hosting family and friends, you deserve some R&R. Exceptional comfort and support from Stearns and Foster during the Black Friday sale happening now at Northwest Furniture and Mattress. Don't wait. These savings won't last. Big red rocking chair on Elm off Adams in LeGrand. I went and shot some 6th grade basketball the other night. It was kind of fun. That's the first time I've ever shot 6th grade basketball. The two LeGrand teams that played was the 6th grade B team and the A team. They were both solid. I mean, I didn't even post the score because they beat Baker so bad. I didn't want to embarrass anybody. Honestly, it was. I don't know why there's such a divide, like between the two. Like the level of basketball that's being played, because Baker. Historically, in the last 10 years, Baker's been really good at basketball. I mean, they're 2-time defending state champions, and so I don't know what's going on there, but it was fun. That's a good group of kids. I kind of feel like that 6th grade class right now is got a chance to bring some state championships to LeGrand in a couple different sports. So. LHS football, the season came to an end with a 33-21 loss to Marshfield in Coos Bay last Friday. Now, let me tell you this. In the beginning of the year, I said, this LeGrand team's going to struggle. And I have to eat my words there because this team consistently got better. And now, don't get me wrong. There were still some serious, discipline issues on the team, which... That's neither here nor there. There's a lot of penalties. There was kids, doing things, that aren't what make a Tiger in my eyes. But this team got consistently better. And to go to Coos Bay and lose by only 12 points in the quarterfinals of the state championship, I give them a hats off, man. Great season for this team, and I hope that this continues. Winter sports are getting ready to start. It's exciting. Wrestling, basketball, swim. I'm going to try to get to at least one swim meet this year just to make sure that I'm covering all the high school sports. I don't want anybody to feel like I'm leaving them out. Even though swimming is not really my game, I mean, I may as well go check it out and try taking some pictures or something. I haven't in the past. I've always just relied on parents sending pictures, which... That's the other thing. If you go to a sporting event and you take pictures and you want me to share them, send them to me. Kyle at EOAlive.tv, or you can post them in the group that I started, the EOA Live Sports and News group, and I will share them every single time as long as they're appropriate and as long as they're part of the network of sports around here. EOU softball is having their big fundraiser coming up on January 10th at Bud Jackson's. All the information's right there. It's a prime rib dinner and then a poker tournament afterwards. And this raise funds for the softball team. It's crazy. The EOU relies on fundraising for a lot of the money that supports a sport. So for instance, uniforms. They don't get new uniforms. They have to fundraise for that. So if you have time on January 10th, and I'll keep talking about this, go support this softball team. They're the number 3 team in the nation. Coach Christian has done a great job with these girls, and she's brought in some studs to fill the spots from people like Kylie Parsons last year that have graduated and moved on. Both the men's and women's EOU cross-country teams are in Tallahassee, Florida tomorrow for the national championships. The men won the CCC and got the automatic bid, while the women were selected as an at-large. EOU men's wrestling lost a tough one to Southern on Saturday, 37-7. Southern's the number 6 team in the country. They're tough, man. Southern was tough. Their whole lineup. I mean, we only won 2 matches, and that whole Southern lineup. There's more pictures, Benny. Give me some more of those pictures. They will be at the Spokane Open on Sunday in Spokane. The women's wrestling team will also be at the Spokane Open on Sunday as well. EOU men's soccer is in Olathe, I think I said that right, Kansas for a national tournament. Opening round game versus Concordia University. That game kicks off at 11 o'clock today. The women are in Marion, Indiana for their first round national tournament game, and that game starts at 2 p.m. our time. Go to EOUsports.com for more information on how to watch. EOU Volleyball hosts Simpson University on Saturday the 22nd at 1 p.m. following their double dip as CCC regular season and tournament champions. They swept number 5 Corbin this last Saturday in Quinn. It was awesome to win the CCC tournament. If this EOU volleyball team plays like they did on Saturday, they're going to bring back the first red banner to Eastern Oregon. There's no doubt about it. They played good volleyball Saturday, and that's what it's going to take for them to win a national championship. And I think they really do have a really good chance at it. Get up there and support these ladies on Saturday, though. They can use it. EOU women's basketball is in Caldwell tomorrow and Saturday for the Caldwell Classic, while the men take on the University of Idaho in Moscow. That's Johnny Ballgame's alma mater. I wonder if he's going to go watch that. Probably not, but that's this Saturday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. AM Sports Report brought to you by Northwest Furniture and Mattress. Go check out their showroom. The Daggett family has done a great job, and they're always supporting this community. So, close that wheel. They support me. I bring you guys information. You support them.
Good stuff, man.
Yep.
Thank you. All right, let's take a look outside. Bennett, it's kind of rainy and drizzly this morning. Yeah.
The worst.
And gloomy. Yeah. So, Jason
makes you
used
want
the
to
word.
hibernate.
Jason used the word coastal, and it's like, yeah, that's exactly right. So,
yeah, when you have the fog and the rain.
Yeah.
I hate that mist where you just go, the coastal mist.
Yeah.
Like you just walk outside and you're wet. Like,
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I guess I mean, lived in Seattle for 6 years before we moved here several years ago. And I got used to the mist. I hated it. But at least it wasn't a downpour of rain, That's,
yeah, I'm not a big fan of the mist.
Yeah. Well, let's look at that graphic. Bennett, so 44 today, 30 tonight.
Oof.
And it looks like it's going to kind of be that way for the next several days, kind of around those temperatures.
Wait, is that 20s that I see on there?
Yeah, there's next Monday it's supposed to be colder.
Yeah, that's
I kind of half expected, it's that point where it's like we could get a little bit of snow just any time,
Yeah, that used to, it's crazy because it used to be there around
Thanksgiving,
Halloween, we would have snow.
Right.
I mean, I remember numerous Halloweens where there was snow on the ground.
Yeah, you'd have to wear a coat.
Yeah, and you'd have to think about your costume getting snow. You know what I mean?
Right.
Having to get around with snow on the ground.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
No. Yeah, the seasons have definitely been delayed or shifting, without a doubt. So, all righty. Hey, glad you guys are here. We're going to take a quick break, and we will be back with LeGrand Police Lieutenant Jason Hayes. right, we're back. Welcome to the AM live show this morning, and we're back with Lieutenant Jason Hayes. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. Good morning.
Good. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. How are things?
Things are good. Yeah, going through a little bit of change at the police department, which I'm not excited about.
Yeah. So, and we I'm trying to think. Gary was here. He was here, and we talked about, he had just recently announced that, and so
Yes.
we kind of all knew that something was spinning out there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Gary and I have a very special relationship. We were high school best friends, and I think it would be an anomaly that you work together in such an effective way as well. Because we can be professional and best friends at the same time, and I know him, and he knows me, and I consider him the science and I'm the art behind policing, and together we just make a really good package. But I'm kind of emotional about him departing, because although I'm happy for him, he's got a long, over 33 years of service, a stellar career to our community. But I'm also losing my last friend that was here when I started the police department, for me, 27 years ago.
Wow.
And so it feels a little bit lonely if he's not there next door and we're bantering with each other and solving community problems together and stuff. So I'm going to miss him, but I am also happy for him in this next chapter that he's going to take.
Yeah. It seems like that's when you and I met. You were recently married, and you had just started at the police department.
Yes.
Yeah, man, 27 years ago. That's crazy how it's just clicked by.
Time goes by very fast. The older I get, the more I realize that.
Yeah. Well, man, has he always been a little ahead of you in the level of rank?
Yes, he has. So when I started in 1998, November of 98 is when I started, he already had 5 years on at that point. He was promoted to a sergeant. Something about Gary is he is very good at everything that he does. And he has the highest police IQ of any, and I've experienced a lot of police officers and administrators in my career. He is by far the sharpest person I have ever met. And so he promoted, and that has shown clearly in his career. He promoted to sergeant after being 5 years. That's rare. Usually our officers are around the 10-year mark before they get promoted, depending on circumstances. So he promoted early, and he just kept that momentum going throughout his whole career. And to be the chief of police for the last 5 years, I couldn't ask for any better. As we look forward, with the police department, I have an interest in succession planning, and I'll apply and put my best foot forward. But here's what I take into this. I am a little bit of Gary Bell. I'm a little bit of John Shaw, Chris Rasmussen, Mike Eckhart, Derek Reddington, Brian Harvey, John Courtney. All these people who I have worked with over the last 27 years, I am a makeup of all of them combined. And so, as we move forward, there's going to be a little bit of Gary in me, to keep that fire burning, so to speak, with our department, and a little bit of Brian Harvey, who was our former chief, and John Courtney before him. And I really have a lot of heart as we get into talking about Shop with a Cop. But Derek Reddington, he championed me early in my career. And he's the one that made me believe in myself and really make me feel like I can be whatever I want to be at the police department. And then certainly supported by a lot of supporting cast, over the years. So we'll see how that plays out, but I'll apply and we'll see how things go from there. But if I'm not the right person for the chief of police job, that's okay. I got a good job where I'm at right now as the operations commander.
You're behind Gary, though, because you went in the military.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you served the country, and he went straight into the police department.
Yes. Yep. That's exactly right. And to be honest, he wanted to be a police officer before I even thought about being a police officer. My dad is a retired. He passed away this year, but he was served 27 years with the Oregon State Police. He was the station commander here in La Grande for a period of time in the 80s. And so you would think that it would be natural for me to be want to be a police officer. But when I graduated high school, I was really into the medical field, and that's why I went into the medical field in the Navy. But when I got out, I realized like that sense of community service and being a part of something greater than myself, which was why my dad was a police officer, which most police officers will tell you that's why they get into this business. That resonated with me once I matured and stuff. So then I started applying.
Nice.
What is police IQ? I've not heard that term before.
Well, it's just your knowledge of policing in all aspects. Yeah. It's very systematic. It's not just what does the law say about something. What does the case law, the U.S. Constitution, policy and procedure, code of ethics. We have a lot of responsibility as police officers, and there's a lot of rules and guidelines that govern how we do our jobs. And he is just so intellectually smart about all of it.
We use the same word in sports. Your football IQ. Like if you have a high football IQ, it means you know the intricacies of the game all the way around. Like it's very similar.
Yeah.
I think I'm fairly intuitive in just seeing people and the way they walk and their body language and how they approach, and I'm sure that there's a ton of that in what you guys do. I mean, you just kind of know, and not only that, but like how the car is moving, if they're swerving a little bit. I mean, you can, and it's funny because I can tell now by whether somebody ahead of me is on their phone or not, because I mean, talk about all that stuff a little bit.
Yeah. It's interesting because, I was involved in a major incident 15 years ago. And one of the things with police, a law, is that you are required to go see a psychiatrist after that. Mm-hmm. And that happened to be a wonderful experience for me. But what I learned out of that is police, there's only two professions, military and police, and I should say first responders, because fire too, where it's against human nature to go towards danger. But those are the only professions where you are trained that it's inherent within yourself, it's muscle memory, to run towards the danger instead of away from it. And so, but that analogy is into everything. You have so much training. We really emphasize training with our officers. And it's in all aspects, ethics, use of force, mental health. There's a whole variety of things that we, concentrate on training with, that it becomes muscle memory, so that you notice things, that ordinary people would not notice. We're trained observers, is what we are, and I think that kind of summarizes what you were getting at right there. Is we're just trained observers. And we do it without even thinking. Yeah. We notice things that are anomalies that look different. One of the things that I do is I like to help our patrol officers with providing extra patrol in our school zones in the morning. They are looking for crosswalk safety, illegal U-turns, things that would jeopardize the safety of the kids. I am looking for things that would be related to active threat. A car that's parked in a way that it wasn't parked yesterday. But those are just inherent. I do those things without really even thinking about having to do it. I don't have to do a lesson plan. Okay, Jason, you're going to go out and do this, and you're going to look for all these things. It's just I've had so much training and experience that it's inherent. Yeah. So when you lose somebody like Gary Bell with 33 years of training and experience, you lose so much institutional knowledge. And there's so many wonderful people. Scott Franks, and Dave Sam, some of our former sergeants and stuff. I remember when they retired, and our chiefs at the time were talking about, we're losing so much, and the gravity of what that is. We only have one senior officer, and really our requirement is 5 years or more to apply to be a senior officer. So most of our agency is made up of officers less than 5 years of experience. Oh, that's
crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
There's only one senior officer?
There's only one senior officer.
Well, outside of you and Gary.
Yeah, now that doesn't count for the sergeants.
Oh, okay.
So we have
okay,
5
gotcha.
sergeants.
And they've all been there more than
Yeah, a senior officer is kind of like a corporal.
Gotcha.
It's just classified
Yep.
different. So, yeah.
Wow.
Well, and I really appreciate recently, I mean, I don't know, was it last Thursday or a couple of, I mean, Cliff Bentz was here in the studio and I called you. I sent you a text and you were hanging out in the parking lot just because it's just this is a weird time that we have.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you sent me a text. It's like, well, you came in and I said, well, you're welcome to come in. And you said, no, I think I'm just good out here on the perimeter a little bit, and I realized there's like, I mean, you're perfect. Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, you're able to observe. If everything's cool, then it's like you're not even there. But if you're needed, then that, I don't know. I mean, I really appreciate that and appreciated you responding in that manner. Yeah. And it was funny because I referred that to Kyle later. I said, Jason's out there somewhere. It's like, I don't see him. Like,
I went out there and looked. And
I think that's the whole point. Yeah.
That's good. I mean,
Yeah. But and I'm looking at a lot of things. I'm looking at rooftops and bushes and driveways and cars, obviously, and people on foot. And there's a lot of things that you look at. But
everybody will say, "Oh, that's not going to happen in LeGrand," but then it does, and then it's like, no, there's a lot of weird stuff going on in this world right now.
Yeah, that's always our hope. But as police officers, we have to think about every situation and every possibility. So
otherwise, as soon as you overlook something, then it sneaks in on you.
Yeah, I was funny. I was going to tell you. So as Cliff was leaving, he said something like, "Hey, I appreciate your security," but he was talking about you. Or they didn't like, "I appreciate your security," but it was like something like, "Well, at least I felt," I don't know. There was some comment about like,
he had his own security.
He did.
Byrne doesn't really intimidate me, but he rolls with like 3 people at least.
Yeah. No, but I thought that was kind of funny. So, I was going to ask you a question. So yeah, there's so much. This is total off topic. We'll get to shop with a cop, but there's so much that a cop has to do on muscle memory because if they're in a situation where somebody pulls a gun on them or whatever the case, they don't have time to think about. I mean, they're just operating to save their life or to save the life of someone else or whatever the case might be. So, what goes wrong, though, and this is a harder question, what goes wrong when they lose their cool and they beat the crap out of somebody when they're defenseless? You and I were talking about that. We were talking about the laws of when somebody is defenseless or they're down or whatever it might be. You can't continue hurting them. At that particular point, then the scale tips to where you are the offender.
Yes.
Yeah. So what happens, in your opinion, what happens when a cop is like swept into that?
Yeah. Well, certainly this will be my opinion, but also my opinion is also off my 27 years of experience and training.
Which is a solid opinion in my eyes.
Yeah, well, and I think so, I think it comes down to 2 things, a lack of training and a lack of realistic training. You have to train for those things. So when we do defensive tactics training, and when I say defensive tactics, it's either we're given verbal commands, but we'll have a role player who makes us escalate. Yeah. And so then we may at some point have to use pepper spray or a control hold. But we not only practice the physical part of that, but the verbal things that we do. Now, also what we have in the state of Oregon is a law where police officers are required to intervene. So if one officer sees another officer getting carried away, using too much force, excessive force, I look at it as where force becomes punishment instead of a way to control somebody for the safety of everybody involved, then any other witnesses who are officers have a duty to intervene.
Yeah,
so in Oregon, I think we do a really good job, but I do know that across the nation, there's agencies and I don't know if it's resources or time or what, but they don't put in the training. I think if you train on this and you use realistic training and understand the laws behind why we do things the way we do, then that would prevent those things from happening.
And mental health and stuff happening outside of work falls under training, because that's part of training. Like,
Yes.
right? When you say training, you got to be taking care of yourself. That's part of your training.
Oh,
right?
yes.
That's a big one.
Yeah, and I love talking about mental health in policing because I think we were recognizing that before it was really an industry standard. When I first started my career, if I would go to these street crimes, was this real popular national training. Like you would show up and there'd be hundreds of police officers from all over the country at this, and they start out the training with bagpipers, and like this was a big deal. But that training was really all about how to defeat the armed felon. If you went to that same training now, that would be a micro part of the training.
Yeah.
A big part would be mental health, how to take care of yourself so that you can have a successful and healthy career. And two, pursuit driving, because pursuit driving is killing more police officers and bystanders
And bad guys.
than the bad guys. Yeah. So you see trends the longer you're in a career.
Yeah.
But anyway, peer support, one thing that we do really well now is we were able, through our budget, to now have a therapist that we contract with. And every brand new employee in their orientation phase meets with the therapist for 1 hour. And then also through our employee assistance program, through our insurance, our officers can have up to 5 visits with the therapist free a year. But then you still have to break the stigma and the barrier, because our officers come in with this warrior mentality,
Right.
and they don't want to show vulnerability.
Right.
And I think we're doing a really good job that in that orientation phase where you have a therapist who specializes in, and I'll give her a plug, Missy Brown. She specializes in first responder training. And she can break those barriers right away by talking about the brain and why we do the things that we do and how to recognize cumulative trauma and cumulative trauma.
Yeah.
Because, Gary, Chief Bell and I have had these discussions and stuff. I have been exposed to particular incidences that were pretty impactful on me in a negative way, I would say. But what affects me more is just all of the stuff over the 27 years. The sudden infant deaths that I've gone to, or a drowning 4-year-old that I've gone to, a shooting, a homicide, a suicide. There's just where our officers are doing these things daily.
Yeah.
And it
that's
may
that
not be a big deal
cumulative
one
trauma.
time, but then you add another one and another one and another one. And we use the analogy rocks in the backpack.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And sooner or later, if you don't recognize, your backpack will get full, and then you'll start being unhealthy.
Yeah.
And so we're really good at recognizing that and trying to really be proactive about wellness within our employees. And that's for our dispatchers as well. I don't ever want to forget them, because they're first responders in a different kind of way. Yeah.
Well, and let's talk about that for a minute. And whatever, if you want to talk about the incident or whatever the case might be, that's kind of up to you. But how does trauma impact you in that, when you have, something that was super significant?
Yes.
And then it required, in the plea, it required that you have counseling.
Yeah.
Is there anything along that path that surprised you? That was like, wow, I didn't know that was there, or I wasn't, talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I think, in the first 2 weeks after my major incident, I didn't know how to process.
Who does? I
Right.
hate to say that.
Yes, exactly. And but when I went and saw the psychiatrist,
And
I was able to be honest
Right.
and vulnerable about my feelings and stuff.
Did you?
And then,
Let me interrupt. Did you did you, when you said you weren't able to process, did you think that anything needed to be processed at that point?
No, I was in denial.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes. Yeah, good question.
Yeah.
No, I'm tough. I'm a police officer.
I'm a male.
I'm a
I hate to
male.
say it like
Right,
that, but
yeah,
it's very male.
Put me back on the road.
yeah,
Yeah.
right,
Get me in, coach. I'm ready to play.
right.
But then, so what I recognized is I couldn't stop thinking about it. And because of that, I was not sleeping well. And so then I went to the doctor and I was put on Ambien,
Yeah.
to help me sleep.
Yeah.
Nothing against Ambien, but
No.
that was a whole nother thing. I was seeing creatures
I
walk.
got, I got an ambient story too. Yeah, but go ahead.
My wife was one of the first ones to tell me, you're not taking that anymore, because I said, she was sitting next to me one morning, I took it. So the thing is, you're supposed to take it and go right to bed.
Yeah, right.
I took it, went and had a bowl of cereal, because I was on night shift, and then went to bed. But I'm sitting on the couch, and I said, my wife's name is Radine. I said, Radine, you're not going to get this, but you are Pocahontas right now. And she had the elk teeth on her elk skin dress, her big, ponytails that were black, and I'm like, that's what I see right now. And she told me to go to bed. Well, she came back and she got distracted, and I was asleep underneath the kitchen table.
Oh my goodness! Wow. Yeah.
But anyway,
that's scary.
So it was a lack of sleep for me because I was just replaying it, and the human brain, I was remembering more and more as time goes by, which is natural. And then there's certain things still, like lighting in a house. When I go to the range and I smell gunpowder after I've shot, that's a trigger for me. It's not a negative trigger. It's just like, it takes me right back.
Well, and smells particularly.
Yes.
I mean,
powerful.
I mean, it'll take you back to a childhood memory, whatever it
Yeah.
might be. Yeah. So.
About Shop with a Cop. So I meet with all the parents and have waivers signed. I end up going to the same house where this incident happened.
Oh, wow.
This was 2 days ago, and that's the second time I've been in that house since my incident. And it just like, wow.
Automatic, huh?
Yeah, it was like, this is creepy, but I'm healthy. Like it didn't bother me, but it still took me to a place and time, just like music does.
Right.
A certain song comes on, and I remember a prom in 1988.
Yeah.
Right.
There's just certain things.
Yeah, I smell. It's not very common. White shoulders. It's a certain kind of perfume, women's perfume. Estee Lauder. Back in the days, it was really popular. My grandmother wore it, so I smell that on anybody, and instantly, grandma. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. So, but I've gone and seen Missy too since then, and it's just status check. It's just you work out to keep your body healthy. Why not go see a therapist to make sure that? And it's really, what I appreciate about Missy is these are confidential. It's a safe place. It's vulnerable. You can be vulnerable, but yet she can identify things that you can work on. To just keep going in the career.
So when you were digging out of that incident with your counseling, how did you know that you were progressing? How did you know that you were? I mean, what are some of the things that is like? I mean, how do you know that this is helping?
Well, I started sleeping.
Okay.
I was going to say that's probably the first thing. Like, hey,
without assistance from Ambien. And I could go, I could do my job without any,
without as much
any
internal.
problems. There was no ropes in my stomach or, anxious anxieties or anything like that. And I was off work for about 2 weeks, I think it was, maybe just a hair longer, which is standard.
Yeah.
And I was ready to come back at that, but it's through my experience, though, that I understand the importance of wellness and therapy, and there's a lot of tools out there for us to be healthy as police officers. And so for me, I started our first peer support program at the PD, and bringing on Missy was part of that. Our model is a clinician oversight. And so we send a particular small contingent of employees, so both dispatchers and police officers, to get training in being peer support. So that's like a front, that's like, if you're just having a bad day, personally or professionally. It's just our peer support people can pull them aside. It's like, hey, it's not, are you okay? Because 100% of the time you're going to, I'm fine. It's,
Right.
how did you sleep last night?
Right.
You get a different answer if you say, how did you sleep last night?
Right.
And then we can be the conduit. It's like, hey, you know, do you want me to help you get a meeting with Missy? Or, you know, like, what can we do for you? Or whatever. I was a little skeptical that the peer support program, like, again, stigma.
Right.
That warrior mindset, how many people would use it? But in our first year, we logged 36 hours of official peer support.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And I thought that was really good. So
Yeah.
we're
And
breaking
the peer
barriers.
support people are trained to like recognize stuff like hey, I got, you know, one of my coworkers is not eating regularly,
Yes.
or you know what like all of a sudden they're drinking a whole bunch of energy drinks and they never did before, like stuff like that.
Yeah,
I get it.
exactly. And it can be a lot of things. Now, we have some people, like Sergeant Dusty Perry. He does he's on our peer support team, but he does peer support naturally without any training.
Right.
Because he cares
Yep.
about people. And
Yep.
he looks at the emotional intelligence involved. It's like, oh, boy, they just don't seem themselves
Off
today.
kilter,
So
yeah.
it just takes one person to check on him and say, hey,
Yeah.
you want to talk?
That's so
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
That's important in life,
It is.
but even more important in your guys' job.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
wow.
So you were talking about pursuit training, or
Yes.
yeah, and because that's one of the things, you know, some of the times when you see a cop lose control and beat the crap out of somebody who was defenseless, often comes after a pursuit. I mean, and maybe that's just a video thing, that those things.
Yeah.
But I would imagine part of that is when you're in a pursuit, every incident is, I mean, if you're following them or you're pursuing them and they go through a lot, I mean, all of those incidents, they're just fleeing. They're just trying
Right.
to get away, you know.
Correct.
But in your head, I would imagine, and this is how I would feel anyhow, is like every one of those little incidences pisses you off. Every one of those just, I mean, it ramps you up. And so then when they finally do get caught,
Right.
there's some stuff. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
there's a lot of emotion.
You got some rage there. Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
so talk about what a cop feels, where how do they're running on muscle memory because that's required for their survival and what their job is. But at the same time, there are situations where they've got to hold themselves back. I mean,
Yes,
yeah.
definitely. There's a lot of self-control.
Yeah.
And, you know, when we're talking about pursuit driving, there is. And here's why an officer is so upset. It's not about the officer.
No, it's the other
about
people.
It's about the safety of all the other
right,
people.
yeah.
Every time somebody runs in a pursuit, a stop sign, we care about our community.
Right.
And we have been to trainings where we watch for hours people getting injured or killed from either pursuits or suspects doing something all across the board. And so we have those experiences through training, not personal experiences necessarily, but through training. So we know that when this person runs
Yeah.
and is driving recklessly, that they're putting a lot of people in safety. But on the heels of that, what we have learned in the industry, and I think this is good, is we are less apt to pursue if they're driving fast. We're very quick to now cancel a pursuit. And also, we have better techniques, like when you're driving, tactical breathing. And we use tactical breathing in everything that we do. Yep. Deep breath in, you pause,
In
breathe
through the
out
nose, out through the mouth.
out through the mouth.
Yep.
And just that little thing helps you control your calmness and get you out of that excited brain, if you will.
It helps get you back out
Yeah.
of fight or flight.
Right.
Bring you back to the
Exactly.
ground.
And by doing that, then your pursuing officers can make better decisions. Yeah. And that's where we have sergeants too, that's like, hey, how fast are you going? You know, because sergeants usually, they may be in the pursuit, but really they're in a command role where they can assess all of this from
Yeah.
a 10,000-foot view. Because officers, they have a lot. If they're the pursuing officer, they have their own safety,
people
the control of
around
their own
them.
vehicle. They're trying to radio location, speeds, what the person in front of them is doing. Is there multiple suspects in the vehicle? What are the suspects doing in the vehicle? Because you'll see, like, sometimes passengers are moving around and stuff, trying to hide stuff or throw something out the
Hide
window.
the coke and get the gun.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot that goes into that. But yeah, I think, tactical breathing, and again, what I mentioned before, train on that stuff. You train on it and you make the training realistic. And what is realistic training? Well, you learn from other officers' mistakes.
Yeah. So like part of training to be a police officer is they sit you and make you watch people getting hurt. Like,
oh yes,
and that helps with
Yeah.
when it actually happens.
Yes,
Because you're gonna see something bad eventually.
Yeah.
So part of that training is like you just sit there and watch like a Faces of Death video or similar.
essentially.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about? That movie,
It's
the
a
movie
little
from the
hardcore,
90s.
but yeah. And early in my career, that stuff was like isolated. Only police officers would see it. But now you can get on YouTube and watch all the graphic stuff that you want, especially if you want to narrow the search to, police officer involved shootings or pursuits gone wrong or whatever it is. There's plenty there.
I never thought about that being part of training. It makes sense, but I never, I never thought, like, hey, you're going to sit in this room and you're going to watch these videos of,
Right.
that's crazy.
But also, you watch the successful ones too.
Yeah.
You would hope, yeah.
Yeah, because there's some that have good results because the officers. Now, everything that we do, we react to what the suspect's doing. They're the ones that are making us choose what decisions that we have to make.
Right.
It's
Reactive.
not us. It's them and their actions. But you see a lot of successful, good takedown, a good officer safety thing where they approach the car in a really safe manner that prevented them from getting hurt. Had they not, watch this video.
Yeah.
And
Gotcha,
Right.
yeah.
so very systematic. I like that word, systematic.
It has
'cause
to be,
it's-
right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like an offense in football.
Yes.
If your offense is systematic, most of the time it's successful.
Yes.
I mean, because everybody knows exactly what they're supposed to do, and it's just redoing it over and over and over again, and then it just becomes automatic.
Exactly. Yeah. And if you're a tight end
Yeah.
and you're only worried about your route and not what the end game is here,
Yeah.
then you're not going to be a very good tight end.
No.
Because a good tight end, they're going to know their route. They're going to know the tackles and the guards and the center and the quarterback and the running backs, and know that this play, this is what we're trying to achieve, not just what am I trying to achieve.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Okay, so here's one of those rocks in the backpack question.
Yes.
So, I mean, all of this stuff that accumulates that you see that normal people don't see and probably shouldn't see, how do you? This is a more personal question. So then, let's say you've accumulated this stuff in your backpack, and because it's just part of your job, okay,
Yes.
and then you go home and your own kid gets injured. He has a compound fracture, and it's like, I mean, in any normal situation, that is a major thing. But you are, so the mom is like totally freaked out because that is not her world. And the dad is like, well, at least you still have an arm. I've seen,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you put all that together in real life?
Yeah, I think what you will find, and based on personal experience and others, is the police officer, they're never off duty.
Right.
That home work-life balance, but still, like I go to Safeway and I'm going to see somebody that's a
checking-
trigger
yeah.
for me
Oh, yeah.
or something, or whatever. There's always a link to my experiences. But we're so in control of situations. And I think at home, if you experience something like that, it's natural that your brain as a police officer, even off duty, you're going to go into police officer mode and you're going to deal with that because it's because it's so objective. Mm-hmm. It's a broken arm. I've been there. I have the experience. I have the training. I have first aid training. Everybody's going to depend on me to take care of this. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to take care of it. Yep. And you do that without even thinking about it.
Right.
And then other people call you because if you're an attorney or a doctor or whatever, you get the other phone calls too. Oh, hey, hey, since I got you here.
Right, but what if it goes the other way though, where like because you've seen so much, you minimize that incident at home, and your wife is unhappy because like you're in cop mode. This is a big deal. I mean, yeah. I mean, do you have those experiences sometimes?
Yeah, not to any significant degree, but my wife has been frustrated with me because I don't take things as crisis mode as she does.
But I think that, so like for some people, I think that they're born with some of that too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I remember so my son had febrile seizures, right? Mm-hmm. Now, don't get me wrong. I had a lot of trauma as a child. I was raised by a heroin addict. You know what I mean? Like my mom, clean now, thank the Lord. But like I had some stuff. Yes. But the first time my son had a febrile seizure, and I was like completely calm. You know what I mean? Like I remember it very clearly. And I had never been around anything like that before. And I just went into a different mode. And I think some people are just wired like to be able to handle that stuff. Maybe not perfect by any means.
Right.
But I called 911 and nobody answered. And I literally drove him to the hospital. You know what I mean? And I was good. I was thinking everything was pretty clear. I knew my daughter was having an issue with wearing shoes. She didn't want to wear shoes. And I'm like, we're going out in the like, get some shoes. And then, so I thought about that beforehand. I'm like, get Presley shoes. Like, tell my wife, get Presley shoes so she has shoes when we get there. You know what I mean? So I think some people are just cut out like a little bit different when it comes to reacting to trauma too. That probably has to help if you have those, I don't know if it's genetic or what, but if you're kind of predisposed to.
Yeah, that's a good word, predisposed. And that's one of the things, we don't only do backgrounds on our candidates to be police officers and dispatchers. We do very comprehensive backgrounds.
I have a friend that does that.
And we look for a lot of things. And one of those is, do you have the stomach for this, basically? You learn that from them. You learn that from those closest to them, coworkers, former bosses, landlords. What does everything say about this person, not just what...
Yeah, my friend does that for a living. He goes and talks to all those people and does that background check.
So, and we're looking for biases, all the things that are part of 21st century policing. We try to identify those things so that we're not lowering the bar. Right. We're not getting very many applicants, but we're not going to lower the bar just to hire somebody.
No, you know more about the person than they know about themselves.
We do.
Yeah. Like, oh, you're a Bills fan. You had crackers for breakfast yesterday. Like, what the hell? You know all that?
Yeah, exactly. So
anyway, really interesting stuff. Thank you. Yeah. So let's switch. Talk to shop with a cop.
Yeah,
so
something more positive.
Yeah. How did that get started?
Yeah, love to talk about this. So in early 2009, Derek Weddington, who was lieutenant at the time, he came to me and Sergeant Scott Franks, and I think it was because at the time. Scott Franks and I were like two of the officers on staff who were very altruistic and liked community engagement projects. Sergeant Franks had been a community policing officer when we had that position, going way back into the mid-90s. And so he asked us, he said that he had heard about this program and wanted to know if it was something that we wanted to research and maybe bring to LaGrande Police Department. So we did, and we contacted Redmond Police Department because they were doing the program at the time. They gave us a wonderful presentation, and really, you need Walmart on board for this. Our biggest and best sponsor that we have. Yeah. So we went and we pitched it to Walmart. They were totally on board, so we applied for a grant for the first year and got it. The first year was a little rough, just because, you're paving a new road. But December of 2009 was our first year.
Wow.
Yep, so this will be 17 years that we've been doing this program. Wow. And Redmond PD, I remember specifically, the police officer, I don't remember their name, but they said, Jason, hold on, because you're going to get so much support for this program. It will, if you can put forth the effort, it is going to be very successful. And don't worry about funding because it'll come to you. Yeah. This is completely funded by sponsors and donations. We couldn't do it without our community members, our local businesses.
And so the essence of the program is there are kids that are vetted to be in need or to benefit from this, and the school district does that for you. Is that right? I'm trying to
Yes, we let the counselors decide because they know the kids the best in the children's situations.
Yeah.
And that is what is neat about Shop with a Cop, because there's kids who receive a lot of things, but this is the only program where they get to go experience the gift of giving.
Right.
Oh, that's
So,
right. Yeah.
You know, they're not just receiving a tote full of toys. They get to actually go shopping and buy for their family. And we were like a little bit, I don't want to say skeptical, but like, how's this going to go with little kids? You know, we were thinking it's going to be me, 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 me. We were so wrong.
Yeah.
These kids love giving. And one of the things that they get to do too is at the end we surprise them and say, well, okay, you can buy something for yourself now.
Yeah.
And we find that they're hesitant. They're having so much fun buying for somebody else that, you know, they're not thinking about themselves. The other benefit to this program too is during that whole shopping experience, they get to build a positive relationship with the police officer.
100%.
And that quality time together where there's no negativity around it is so beneficial. And then hopefully we're building a relationship with them that if they ever need a police officer, they won't hesitate. They won't have anxiety about a police officer showing up. They will know that we are fun, regular human beings, and that we're there to
Not
help.
the bad guy.
Yeah.
We're not the bad guy.
I'm sure it's helped you in even in a negative situation, like down the
Oh, it
road.
has.
If you know, if you came across one of the kids that you knew from Shop with a Cop, it might make it a little bit easier.
Yes, there's a relationship there, so
Yeah, it's
there's a
already
rapport
developed.
in a way. Yeah. So the program has grown. We do 15 kids. And that's about all we can manage because we want to keep the integrity of having a child with a police officer.
One-on-one.
And it's hard to get enough police officers on one day together. We rely heavily on the Oregon State Police and Union County Sheriff's Office. They help us with this. And then I weigh heavily on our retirees. They come and help, do the wrapping. This is how the program works. So on this year, it'll be December 11th, about 10 a.m. Pastor Frank Umber with Somerville Baptist Church, he's one of our department chaplains. He brings his bus, and we go around to all the schools, and we pick up the 15 selected kids, and then we take them to Walmart, and I call them out one at a time and pair them up with a police officer, trooper, or deputy. And then they get $150 to go spending for their immediate family. In addition, they get to buy something for themselves. After they're done shopping, then the officer will treat them to lunch, which is provided by Domino's and Coca-Cola. And while that's happening, volunteers are wrapping all their presents for them.
Wow.
And then at the end, we take them home and deliver them with all their bags of wrapped presents.
That's awesome.
And if they need a Christmas tree or something, we'll buy them a Christmas tree as well.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
Now, where do they have lunch at? What?
So, when we originally started this, it was very convenient because we had Subway there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Subway's gone, but they have in that same area, they have a enclosed warehouse, a storeroom.
Yeah.
And so
So right there at
Yes.
at Walmart. You're
right
able
at
to-
Walmart. Everything's right at Walmart.
Yeah.
We set up the wrapping in a storeroom. We have a little mini cafeteria set up in the storeroom. The most wonderful person is Tina Bardwell. She's an assistant manager with Walmart, and she loves this program, so she goes to the tens for these kids. She has the tables decorated. She has a particular cash register that's all decorated with Christmas stuff. She usually dresses up as an elf. And she's my right hand, from Walmart. She's my conduit, and she is always more than willing to help wherever she can. And represents Walmart exceptionally well. We couldn't do it without Walmart. This year we got $3,000 from Walmart. Loveland's has also been one of our sponsors from the very beginning. Of course, Coca-Cola and Domino's. Sunrise Rotary has helped us. Some local insurance companies have helped us. We get a lot of citizen donations. If anybody wants to donate, they can donate to our program any time of the year.
How can they do that?
Yeah, they can just come up to the police department and ask for Aaron or Jason, and we'll accept donations there at the police department anytime. On the day of the event, they can just go to the where we're doing the wrapping. You can't miss it. It's decorated, but and they can make donations at the store. I love it too because during the program, we'll have citizens who are just shopping ask us, "What are you doing?" You know, here. So I'll go explain it, and they're like, "Well, here's $100." You know, and it's wonderful. You know. This is my favorite thing to do as a police officer, and I think it's because everybody is so positively impacted by this. The volunteers, the kids. So after this year, we will have served 255 kids. Each kid typically, on the average, buys for about 4 family members. So over the last 17 years, that'll be well over 1,000 family members positively impacted by this. It's the only thing that I do that I don't get negative press about. Like, if somebody has... You know, even on social media, there's always somebody that has to criticize for the sake of criticizing. But thankfully, this has always cultivated positive feedback, and so I love that. You know, and I love to see it's typical that these kids will say, "This is the best day of my life."
Yeah.
That is so good. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think back to my childhood, which I probably would have qualified when I was young for this program, and the only time I ever got pulled out of class was like CPS questioning me. You know what I mean? But I would have loved to have got pulled out of class to go buy presents for my. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I think of it like that, and the best day of the life comment is like, that pretty much.
Yeah, it's nothing but fun. You know, you have, and the kids are so cute. So I ride the bus with the kids, and the personalities. These are kids grades 1 through 5, because we figured out early on that that's who benefits the best from this.
Yeah.
And, you know, even the shyest kid, by the time it's over, they're not shy anymore.
Well, and grades 1 through 5, there's probably the least amount of. I was going to ask you about this too. Like, how do you make sure that the kids aren't singled out by classmates? But you know, like, you're only going because like kids are weird and mean sometimes.
Oh, absolutely.
But grades 1 through 5, you probably don't see that much.
Nope. We've never had a bad experience with that.
I love
Not
it.
yet. And we have waivers signed, so all the kids. So we make sure that the parents or guardians are good with us, doing this event. So I explain to them, and then 2, a media release, because
there's pictures.
You guys,
people around.
Elkhorn Media, us, we all like to put stuff on our Facebook pages or social media posts or whatever, and that the parents are okay with their child's picture being used. Only once has one said no, and that was an extenuating circumstance that was totally understandable.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's just fun, and the parents are like very. Some of them cry when they find out, like, when we go meet with them, it's like, hey, your child's been selected for this. Are you okay with it? And you describe the program. Most of them have a lot of heartfelt gratitude.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Sure.
There's some that's like, oh, but couldn't some other kid do this? Like, I feel bad that we're getting this.
Yeah.
No,
Right.
you deserve this.
Yeah.
We want to do this for your kid.
Right.
It's awesome.
So, yeah.
Awesome.
Well, Jason, thank you.
Yeah.
It's
You're welcome.
it's always a pleasure to talk to you. Yeah, and I love the personal conversations that we've been able to have. So
Yeah.
and so that is December 11th. In fact, I was going to tell you that, there was one time that I had lost track of that day happening. This is several years ago, and I'm at Walmart, and there's so much police presence. I thought, that there was some kind of a major incident. You know, like there is only one reason that this many cops would be at the store. You know, anyhow. So it was when the switch did flip, it was like, oh, okay, it's good news. Yeah, you know, anyhow.
Yes. Yeah. So 11 a.m. on December 11th, and we're usually there for about 2 hours. Is what it takes. And
all right. Well, we'll certainly be there and stream the beginning part of it. So
perfect.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Thank you, man. You want to get us out of here?
Let's do it. On this day, November 20th, 1789, New Jersey is the first state to ratify the Bill of Rights. 1902, Geo Lefevre, I'm going to butcher this name, Henry Desgrange is just what I'm going to say, create the Tour de France bicycle race. 1902, that thing's been going on for 123 years. That's crazy. 1958, American puppeteers Jim Henson and his future wife Jane Nebel established Muppets, Inc., now known as the Jim Henson Company. 1985, on this day, Microsoft Windows 1.0 is released. 2024 on this day, and this was just because I couldn't find anything else cooler, the world's tallest woman, who is 7 foot even, 7 foot and 3/4, meets the world's shortest woman, who is 2 foot even. That's a big discrepancy in human size. 5 foot difference.
Wow.
Yeah, 2 foot. So they met each other and for the Guinness Book of World Records. Kind of cool. The number one movie in America on this day in 1995, Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls. And then the quote of the day comes from Steve Irwin, and this is one of my favorite quotes ever. Crocodiles are easy. They try to kill and eat you. People are harder. Sometimes they pretend to be your friend first. One more time. Crocodiles are easy. They try to kill and eat you. People are harder. Sometimes they pretend to be your friend first.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you, Jason.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, next week is Thanksgiving. We will have a show on Tuesday, but we'll be off on Thanksgiving, just like the rest of you. So we'll see you soon.